Jake was a 15-year-old boy who lived in a small town with his family. On the outside, Jake appeared like any other boy, quiet, somewhat introverted, but inside, he carried a world full of sadness and loneliness. Since he was young, Jake had felt different from others. He always struggled to make friends and was afraid of saying something wrong or acting in a way that would make others laugh at him. Over time, this fear turned into a wall of isolation between him and the world. Every morning, Jake struggled to get out of bed, as if the whole world was weighing down on him. He would lie in bed, staring at the ceiling, while negative thoughts raced through his mind. Why should I get up? What's the point? When he went to school, he chose to sit in the back of the classroom. In class, he never raised his hand to answer questions, even if he knew the answers. He feared making a mistake or being laughed at. During break time, he would stand alone in a distant corner of the schoolyard, pretending to be busy with his phone or staring at the ground. Sometimes he would hear the laughter of his classmates, and he would think they were laughing at him, even if that wasn't the case. Jake hated seeing groups of friends laughing and talking. He would ask himself, why can't I be like them? Am I strange? Why doesn't anyone like me? At home, things weren't any better. His parents worked all day, and by the time they returned, they were exhausted. They would try to talk to him sometimes, but Jake would respond with short sentences or make up excuses to retreat to his room. His little sister would always try to play with him, but he felt like she didn't understand him. He would look at her and wish he could go back to being a carefree child, free of worries and heavy thoughts. Jake spent most of his time alone in his room. He would sit on his bed, staring at the wall or out the window. Sometimes he would cry silently, too afraid to let anyone hear him. He would tell himself, I'm a burden to everyone. If I disappeared, no one would miss me. One night, as Jake lay in the darkness, cruel thoughts crept in. He felt like everything in his life was meaningless. He tried to sleep, but he couldn't. His mind kept repeating the same words, you're a failure. You're unwanted. Everyone hates you. He woke up the next morning feeling like the world had become even darker. Even the simplest things, like getting dressed or brushing his teeth, seemed like enormous challenges. One day, while Jake was walking to school, he decided to take a walk through the public park. He sat on one of the benches and gazed at the trees and the children running and playing. Suddenly, an elderly man sat down next to him. The man looked at Jake and gently asked, "Why do you look so sad, my boy?" Jake was surprised by the question but felt a sudden urge to speak. He said, "I don't know, sir. I feel stuck. No one cares about me. Everyone hates me." The man smiled sadly and said, "I was once like you. I felt like the whole world hated me and that I was invisible. But I learned something important. Not everything your mind tells you is true." Jake looked at the man in surprise and asked, "What do you mean?" The man replied, "When your mind is full of sadness, it becomes like a broken mirror. It doesn't reflect reality as it is. It makes you see things worse than they are. You have to learn to question those thoughts and find someone to talk to." Sadness grows when you stay silent, but it shrinks when you share it with someone you trust. Jake was deeply moved by the man's words. For the first time, he felt like someone understood him. He decided to open up a little. The next day, he went to his favorite teacher and asked to speak with him. He began to share his feelings and struggles. Jake felt some relief after talking. Slowly, he started writing his feelings in a journal and reached out to one friendly classmate. Things didn't improve overnight, but Jake felt that the wall of isolation he had built around himself was starting to crack. The lesson: depression is not a sign of weakness. It's a silent battle that requires understanding and support. Sometimes, just talking to someone can be the beginning of a long path toward healing. Don't be afraid to ask for help. You are not alone.
Thank you for your wonderful support. If you have ideas or suggestions for future videos, write to me in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell. See you in the next video.